the Marvel Cinematic Universe mythology has grown so big that at times these interchangeable terminologies like dimensions, universes, and realms feel confusing. Having said that, these concepts are very different from one another. I'll try my best to explain them the way I understand these concepts. Let's begin with dimensions. What are they? Consider the three spatial dimensions we are taught in school, the three perpendicular lines that we generally name x, y, and z. Whenever there is a point in space, we give its location by giving its x, y, and z coordinates, meaning each dimension has its own independent existence. They are always there, irrespective of whether we look at the world at the beginning of time or the end of it. The dimensions of MCU, those mentioned in the movie Doctor Strange, are like that. The astral dimension, where souls can exist outside the body. The mirror dimension, where you can see the world around you but not physically affect it. And the dark dimension, where Dormammu lives. These can also be called parallel planes of reality. Just like parallel lines, these realities don't converge or diverge at any point in time. They have and will always exist. I believe the Watcher we saw in What If watches the multiverse through the mirror dimension. Now, the astral dimension can also be called as Afterlife. It has various faith-based subdivisions as explained by the Egyptian hippo goddess we saw in Moon Knight.
The afterlife?
An afterlife, not the afterlife. You'd be surprised how many intersectional planes of untethered consciousness exist.
Yeah.
Like the ancestral plane. Oh, just gorgeous.
It could be the ancestral plane of Black Panther or the Egyptian underworld or Valhalla, the Asgardian heaven where all the Asgardians go, where Odin went during Thor Ragnarok. The astral plane will take its appearance based on what you believe in or can comprehend. You can roam around the mortal plane like a ghost or move on to one of the afterlives that various religions of the world preach. The magical village in Shang-Chi is said to be another dimension, but it is most likely just an alien planet far, far away with a wormhole-like gateway that looks like a waterfall and connects it to Earth. Now, the multiverse we see in Doctor Strange 2 is something else. They are alternate realities. They are not dimensions. Consider the sacred timeline mentioned in the Loki series. This is one singular narrative that begins with the Big Bang and ends with the heat death of the universe. There are no alternate realities because the TVA clips all unwanted branches. Say for example when Tony Stark has to snap his fingers to defeat Thanos and his army, he has two choices, either to do it or not. This creates a split in reality. The branch where Tony snaps his fingers continues, while the reality in which he doesn't gets erased by Time Corps. However, because of what Loki and Sylvie did at the end of Loki Season 1, both realities are allowed to coexist and diverge from each other. This leads to the existence of a multiverse. Here, I must point out that this alternate Loki story continues immediately after the events of Endgame. But the moment Loki goes to the TVA, you cannot put those events in the normal chronological MCU order. Actions of Loki and Sylvie has consequences not just on the events of future, but throughout the entire MCU timeline. You might have observed in Multiverse of Madness that there are some realities with minor differences, while there are some with major differences. You see, if kept unchecked, every decision leads to a branching of the timeline. The difference between two adjacent realities depends on how long ago the Nexus event happened. Say for example, different versions of Loki all played by Tom Hiddleston, exist because the split in timeline happened after this Loki was born. Meanwhile, many other Lokis, including Sylvie, look different because the split in their reality happened before whoever will be considered Loki was born. In this case, consider Loki, the god of mischief, as a title. Any being can become a Loki provided they have a similar origin story. Hence, our Loki and Sylvie are not different versions of the same person. They are totally different people holding the same title. Now, if we consider that laws of physics are set immediately after the Big Bang, but if the Nexus event happens before those laws were set, there will be realities that are normal like us, but there will also be strange realities where, for example, the entire universe is animated, like in What If, or a world where people are made of blocks, or completely made of liquid paint, as we see in the Multiverse of Madness. Realms. The structure of our world is very complex and detailed. This is necessary to fool our senses. We know that the world is made up of atoms, but we don't view our world like that. Our body is made up of countless cells, but our eyes can't differentiate between one cell and the adjacent one. There are billions of us on this earth, and yet, when viewed from space, our earth appears to be a tiny pale blue dot. Even if we are looking at the same thing, depending on its magnification, the appearance of the reality is very different. This is where the concept of realms come in. The quantum realm is at the largest magnification. Slightly bigger might be the atomic realm. Further bigger is the cellular realm. Larger than that is the reality way we see it. Even bigger is our solar system or galaxy realm. The realms mentioned in Thor movies are all galaxy realms, like Earth is Midgard, Asgard is another realm, etc. Laws of physics don't apply uniformly throughout the realms. Say, for example, gravity keeps us grounded, but on an atomic level, stronger forces exist, making gravity insignificant. Similarly, the concept of time becomes irrelevant at the quantum realm. Hence, in the quantum realm, there exist time vortices to travel to any point on the sacred timeline. That's why I have a theory that He Who Remains and the TVA exist in the quantum realm. The time doors that TVA people use open as if appearing out of thin air because they are growing in size, like Ant-Man using his suit. Hopefully, we'll know if my theory is true or false in Quantumania or Loki Season 2. If you have understood all this, then let's take the case of time travel in Avengers Endgame. Time travel, when the Avengers went back in time, was simple. They shrunk themselves to the quantum realm and went to different points in past to get the Infinity Stones. The realities from where the Infinity Stones were taken were erased by the TVA, ensuring that only one timeline exists. Now, time travel becomes complicated when Steve Rogers tries to return the Infinity Stones. You see, the quantum realm is used to go backward or forward in time. It can be used to traverse through the multiverse. If this was possible, then Wanda would have used that instead of wanting to kill America Chavez like a mad witch. I believe this is what happened. Steve Rogers goes back in time to the base from where they took the Tesseract. But soon he realizes that another Tesseract is still there. What he doesn't know is that the timeline from where Tesseract was taken was erased. So what Steve does is that he hides the Infinity Stones and resumes his life with his love Peggy Carter. He lives a secret life until he appears as an old man after his younger self has gone back in time. This is why the old man Captain Steve Rogers does not appear out of the time machine in 5 seconds and instead is seen seated far away on a bench. That's it. Once we get more multiversal stories, we will learn that there are many ways to travel across the multiverse. Those we know are the way Watcher watches the multiverse, the star-shaped portals created by America Chavez, and another is a spell that brought people from alternate realities to the main MCU reality. This is everything I wanted to talk about. I hope that I have properly conveyed everything. If you have any doubts or questions or feel like there are flaws in my explanation, please do tell me in the comments down below. Till then, thank you, and always remember, world building is so fantastic that I'm a fanatic.